So this started as a normal Blessed Hammer Paladin guide. Now I'm in Torment 8, I think I can push to T10 and I've already broken 1 billion damage with the build. At this point, the only real thing holding me back is survivability. Because once I figured out I could use the 5 pieces of lights epiphany, pun intended, 500% damage bonus in arbiter form and keep that form up basically all the time, the damage went completely insane. So in this video I'm going to show you how the build evolved from a fresh level 70 setup into what it is now, how I approached the skills, Paragon gear, battle plans, cube setup, how I set up my loot filter, and what took this from a decent Paladin into something that can hit for a sub-billion plus damage. And because this video covers a lot, use the timestamps if you want to skip to the section you care about most. Let's get into it. So yeah, this is my loot without the loot filter. What the hell? And this is my screen with the loot filter enabled. Pretty cool, huh? So the first thing, hide all common, magic, rare and legendary items. This is the first one. Then show ancestral, rares, legendaries, uniques, mythic uniques and talisman sets. Then recolor uniques, I made them red, so there's that. I made this a bit lighter also. Then show greater affixes, yeah, basically on everything. Core skills, I want to boost my damage, so I'm looking for core skills stuff. Remember, we hidden all legendaries. Now I want to see the ones that are ancestral, and I want to see the legendaries that represent an upgrade. And then show good talismans, only talismans. I think this works. It's pretty easy to set up. Without it, you'll swim in crap. So you can make sure if you pick up something, it's useful. See, it tells you right there, upgrades an aspect, unlocks new aspect. And now I'm gonna show you a few upgrades I did, and maybe you understand how I approach upgrading my gear. I don't know if it's the best way to approach, but the main idea is this. If I don't have a better setup anywhere, I keep the aspects. So I'm only upgrading the item, its stats, but the aspect of the replaced item remains the same. So I got these two items, a pair of gloves and the ring, and I want to temper them. I start by just comparing the one with the ones that I do have equipped, and I try to match the stats or make it bigger, bigger numbers. That's all I'm doing at this point. So I'm trying to fish for the biggest number here. 27 is still bad, 20 is the worst, and luckily I got 39%. So there's the gloves done. Now for the ring, I go for lucky hit with resource generation. That's a problem with this build. So yeah, again, after a couple of tries, I nail it, and I'm done with tempering them. And then I'm going to the cube and I just add one affix on both items. At this point I don't care about the affixes themselves, I just want the slot really, because I will go and just reroll that. So whatever it is, it doesn't matter, I just want it there. Now I'm at the occultist, where I try to replace one undesirable stat, and in this case was vulnerable damage. It takes a few tries. This will take a while and some resources. Always pick, if you know you don't want a stat, always pick the next one you want. For example, there I skipped over a crit, and that was a mistake. You'll see in a bit I'll settle for a lower value of crit, because the price goes up and oh no, it's the same, actually, it's the same value, but still point still stands. So I'm happy with the ring. Now about the gloves, same thing really. Pick life, because that's the next best thing I would like on it. No change here. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking, I'm processing. I like that all damage multiplier is pretty high on the current gloves. But yeah. I don't think I can match that. And then I just look for the aspect, for the same aspect. And pro tip here, you can look for keywords and filter the aspects, so you can find it easily. So there you go. That's the gloves done. And then for the ring, same thing. Match the bloody aspect, and this one is indeed with 10% better than the one I currently have. So I'm happy about that. It's like, in the end, it's like 20% damage boost. And now going back to the blacksmith, I just want to temper everything, max it out basically. And I suggest you do this the moment you reach endgame. Don't hold back. Don't, because yeah, sure, you will not waste materials, but you'll struggle. Now I'm looking at the tooltip. It's pretty crazy, only with the gloves changed. I got a big boost, but yeah, let's see what's the deal with the ring. Yeah, I think I don't like the life here. I mean, it's cool, but I would rather have something else. Strength, no. 12 damage is... but it's all damage, and I don't know how it scales. So yeah, 260. With this new one, 284. It's not much, but it's an upgrade, I guess. So it's like 30%, almost 30% increase in damage overall from only 2 items. So there's that. So anyway, this was only to show you guys how I approach upgrading my gear, and it's nothing fancy. You just match what you already have, what already works for you, and try to push bigger numbers. That's how I approach it. At some point where I'll build a library of items, I can try to copy this guy's build, but for right now, there's no way. There's no way, and I'll just gimp myself, because what these guys do in their guides, they show you the ideal situation where everything has a purpose, everything runs smoothly and synergizes in the best way possible with all the other items and talents and all that. But you need to keep in mind that if you try to copy a build blindly, you might end up with things that don't make sense, because you don't have the trigger for something. So why would you get plus 1 billion damage when you are fortified if you don't have anything that gets you fortified? You know what I mean? So yeah, just be careful when you copy builds. That's my 2 cents here. Let's move on to the next one. I want to show you my gear, my skills, and my Paragon points, how I distributed them and stuff. I followed a guide from d4builds.gg for this up to a point, and after that I just got whatever I could, because you will not have everything that's required there. For example, on the headpiece you need Hair of Perdition. Well, whatever. I got whatever, you know. And for pretty much everything. Only this one is very good to have, actually. I think it's best in slot, especially if you get an ancestral one, great rolls. I mean, this is decent already. Let's go over the gear first. So for the headpiece, this is a tanky item. It reduces damage. As you get less HP, you take less damage, or at least this is how I believe it works. I'm not sure yet. I have this block chance on that. I think it's good because I have something else, we'll talk about it later, that deals damage with based on how much block I have, so block is good. Then on this one, this is the only rune world I could do. I'm not too happy about it, but the guide said this is what you need, and I got it, but I'm not too keen on it because it happens after you cast evade 4 times, and yeah, as you can imagine, actually in the final build you'll evade all the time, so this makes sense, but I'm not having what the build requires, so for me this one is a waste of space, but I keep it there just for, I don't know. And about the aspect, your disciple skills now weaken enemies for 8 seconds, and this is also helping me tank. As you know, Blessed Hammer is a disciple skill, and the arbiter duration is increased. I have this on multiple pieces. You'll see the uptime for this is 100%. I mean, without even trying. I can even get rid of some of the arbiter duration thingies. We'll talk about in a bit. For the gloves, damage multiplier, that's always good, and you need lucky hit up to 15 chance to restore primary resource. This, as far as I know, is very useful. I cannot pilot this build without it. Life on hit, damage multiplier, and the disciple skills deal 46% increased damage is awesome. For the pants, more armor and increased block chance, so I have like almost 20 extra block chance because of this. Again, arbiter duration, fate regeneration, armor, life, and strength. These are your top stats, basically. I don't know about fate regeneration, but whatever. On the boots, up to 31% chance for your skills to inflict vampiric curse on enemies. Enemies afflicted with vampiric curse are also vulnerable. This is my way of applying vulnerable, so yeah, it's basically free 20% damage. I don't know how well it works, but because it's lucky hit. Anyway, this is what I roll with right now. Then a ton of movement speed. I'm kept, by the way, at 200. Again, life, armor, and yeah, more movement speed. For the weapon, I got that 49% holy damage. I think it's very good because just look at it. It's 50% holy damage, then 86% increased damage. So this weapon is pretty sick. Then for the amulet, strength, armor, movement speed, and then I got rid of the second movement speed because I don't need it anymore. I have too much if I would roll that. But that's awesome because I got holy damage multiplier, and that's pretty sick, I guess. And then more holy damage, and then gain 71 increased damage to a set damage types for 7 seconds, alternating randomly between 2 sets. I want to say that this is RNG. I don't like it, but it's what I have, and it gives me a big boost in damage from time to time, and that's pretty sick. I mean, I hit for like what, even 30 million. I think I saw hits for 30 million, so yeah, it's pretty sick. I don't know exactly how it works, how it rolls, how it stacks, but it just works, and it's cool when it does. And it works pretty often, so yeah. For the rings, again, life, armor, critical strike damage, some resistances, because my stats are pretty bad, I think. Look at these resistances, they are awful. I mean, only the fire resistance is decent, all the rest are pretty bad. Yeah, this is 40%. Ugly. Lucky hit, again, for primary resource, you'll be starved for fate. You'll be always starved for this. On bosses, when you're not fighting bosses, you will not have any problems because yeah, you'll just hit non-stop and this will be always full. So you can spam it as fast as your attack speed allows. So yeah, there's that. But on bosses, that's a different story, and for those bosses I need lucky hit. Me at least. I don't know, maybe you find a way to bypass this, but tell me in the comments if you see something here in my video and you know it's totally wrong. Please, for the love of God, drop it in the comments. I read all of them and I'll make the changes and maybe even post a build update at a later date. Casting a skill that grants arbiter form increases your damage by 5%, stacking up to 10 times. Well, Condemn does exactly that, so yeah, I don't know what to say. So the first thing, you enter the arbiter form by using the ultimate, and this will last for 64 seconds. It tells you right there. In all that time, you spam condemn when you have a charge. So at least this is how I understand it works. I don't know if this is how it works, because you will not leave arbiter form until 64.5 seconds pass, and you will actually not leave it, not even then, because the cooldown will be up. Don't mind the 115 seconds it says right there. This can be recast after, I don't know, 50 seconds or something. So you'll have this all the time when fighting. So keeping those stacks won't be a problem. And again, it's 50% more damage. I don't think that guide tells you to use this, because it uses some mythic and unique rings, but I don't know. This is what I roll with, and it's pretty cool. And for the next one, again, lucky hit. This one, when it hits and when it procs, gives me a lot of resources. Maybe I should do this with this one too, actually. Anyway, strength, maximum life, fate on kill. I don't know if that's useful by this point. I might reroll that actually to something, I don't know, critical damage, or I don't know, anything else. That's a mistake, don't do that at this point. While healthy, your skills deal 21% increased damage and double this bonus against weakened enemies. So it's free 42% damage, I'll take it all the time. The shield, nothing special, it's ancestral at least, has a ton of strength, life on hit, critical strike chance, fortified generation, and arbiter duration. See, anyway, we'll talk more about those. So yeah, that's it. The odds, Disciple, of course, because Disciple. Casting a dual skill with a cooldown grants Arbiter for 4.5 seconds. So this one. This is why it works like this, you know. And it's pretty cool. Let's talk about the skill tree. I don't have any generator. That's a bit scary, especially if you try to do this early. You will not be able to, because you'll still need a way to generate fate. But yeah, at some point you can just get rid of this. Then of course, Blessed Hammer. I would like to have plus 10 on this. Sadly, I don't. But yeah, cost reduction, yeah, I think it's the best thing you can get. Then Blessed Hammer becomes a Disciple skill. That's a no-brainer. And Blessed Hammer gains 50% increased cast speed, and its hammers travel 25% faster. This is so good. I mean, I think this is the first one I took, then this was the second point, and this was the third. Because this is always cool. If you don't take this, the Blessed Hammer doesn't orbit you, and that's bad. That's pretty bad. Then you have the two auras, Fanaticism aura and Defiance aura. When you press it, you weaken all enemies for 4 seconds. This is just here for attack speed, critical strike chance, and critical strike damage, basically. The enemies are already weakened, you know. Then this one, yeah, gives you a ton of armor and resistances and damage, and yeah, pretty cool stuff. Then I have nothing there. I have one point in Condemn, because this one is only there to change into Arbiter form, and that's it. You don't need this for damage or anything else. Consecration, this is always nice because it gives you additional damage and you consume less resources while casting Blessed Hammer. So this is why Consecration is here. I don't know if it's the best thing, because the damage increase is meh. But even the resource generation is increased, so that's good. And of course, Arbiter of Justice. And I'm debating if I should. No, I shouldn't. I was wondering if I should put more points into this. Ideally, yes, but it's whatever. As I said, the duration is not a problem anymore. Now, about the Paragon. Some general tips here. With your first 100 points, go straight for the legendary bonuses, guys. Don't do it like a guide says, you know, because you're missing out. Here, for example, just go straight to this, because look, it's you deal increased damage equal to 125% of your damage reduction granted from armor. That's 94% more damage from this node. So don't worry about this, go for this. Always go for this. And there you go. You deal increased damage equal to 110% of your block chance. Current bonus 33. It's not that much, but they all add up. you know. So always go for this while moving. And this is so cool. While moving, and for 2 seconds after, you deal 80% increased damage and have 30% cooldown reduction. So again, more damage. And when you are casting Arbiter and you are running around, this cooldown will drop to, I don't know, 80 seconds or something. So yeah, pretty sick. The glyphs are not final. I just put there whatever because I don't have all of them. So I know for a fact that this is what the build told me to get, and this is what I got. But the rest of them, don't worry about glyphs. I have random stuff. Literally, I placed here whatever I had. And here for example, look, this board, I don't know how it's called. Can I see the name? I don't know. Anyway, this one that has this legendary node, well, at least one ally or mercenary is within one of your auras, you deal 90% increased damage. The guide tells you to have it flipped the other way around, so the glyph socket is here. But again, I don't care about that socket because I don't have that specific glyph, and obviously I don't have it upgraded, so it doesn't matter. And this is why I put it the other way around. So I reach this, I get the fast buff, because 90% at this point is pretty huge. And I have what? 5 more Paragon levels and I get it. And when I do get it, without any upgrades, I'm confident I can boost the Torment level to 7, maybe even 8. So yeah, so always go for this, always, because they're sick. And of course everything adds up, but the priority should be these, then the yellow nodes, and then the actual glyphs. So yeah, I will not talk about any of this, but yeah, that's what I wanted to point out with the Paragon board. That's it with the build. You saw how it works, you saw it in action. It's pretty damn cool. I only progressed via war plans, and that's it. That's all I did. Now the key thing, yeah, this will help you level. So in the war plans, when you see this icon, the Undercity, get it. And yeah, if this is your alt, of course, just get this point, and at each breakpoint you will in your run you'll have a ton of experience that helps you level very fast, and this is cool. So yeah, get this one ASAP. After that, just whatever. I am not even paying attention about what I'm picking anymore. So if I'm 2 points in right here, the next one will be this one. Well, actually this would be cool because it has a chance to spawn boss. Cool stuff. Also, nightmare dungeons are pretty cool. They are very cool. I love nightmare dungeons. Yeah, you can do these escalation ones. They are so cool. You do that by just shoving 5 of these in and transmute them. So yeah, there's one. And I like to do this. I love these things. They are so cool because they are very rewarding, and they let you customize what you actually want from your dungeon. You know, you have all these escalations, and between each escalation you are presented with 3 options, and it's pretty cool. I don't know, if you want crafting materials, you get crafting materials. If you want gold, you get gold. If you want gear, you get gear. You got the idea. Then these things. So usually I'm using battle plans right from here, you know. But if, for example, I need to do an Infernal Hordes run, I will use one of these because the wave cap is 10. It's way better than 6 wave cap you have by default. So if you want to be able to spawn the actual boss and fight him, just use these, and yeah, you should be fine. And the same with these. If I need to do a dungeon, I'm using one of these. Then for the cube, you can use these, for example, these things to transmute. Look, I got my weapon. Basically, this is how you get your weapon. This is how you get Herald's Morning Stars. The thing is, you want a good one. So yeah, you need to fish for an ancestral one. But you saw how to get it. This one gives you this ring, whatever. This one gives you, yeah, that thing. So yeah, with these resources, you just transmute them in Unix. This is best in slot. Later, you will be able to, wait, where is it? Craft unique charm. You'll be able to craft this. So you need an ancestral unique item and 3 of any unique charms, whatever. Yeah, so this is very late into the game. But what I'm thinking to transform this mace into a charm, because basically you you only want the brown text in there, you know. Blessed Hammer deals 86% increased damage and lucky hit, whatever the hell. That's what you want from this weapon. Other than that is whatever, right? So I'm thinking if I can find another one-hander with, I don't know, some good benefits I could use, I could transform, if I get an ancestral Herald's Morningstar, into a charm, and of course I'll have that other weapon. I have 2 things that that boost my damage even higher, because that's the idea. And maybe if I find some other weapon that's ancestral, I'll just transform that one into a charm and yeah, continue using this one. So there's that. You can do a lot of cool stuff with Horadric Cube. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. For example, let's just say this is great. This is exactly what I want. I'll just add an affix on it, and then I'll start crafting. So yeah, you can even do it multiple times if you don't like it, with re-rolls and stuff. You can upgrade to a legendary, but I don't recommend this, because I like having control. I like applying the aspects I want. I don't want RNG in this, so upgrade to legendary. This works while you're leveling, you know, but after that I don't see an universe in which I'll press this one. It's because, yeah, whatever. This is good, but I have this aspect, so it's useless for me. Yeah, that's how that works. You can recycle uniques if you have 3 of them, 3 of the same time. Actually, I don't have 3 of any, but if you would have 3 of them, you drop them here, transmute into another one. It's a way of fishing for an ancestral unique, I guess. Now the reroll set charms, I didn't use this one, but yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with it. Just try it. If you don't know how something works, just trying on an item you don't care about, you know, like for example this one. So you're curious about how to remove affix works. So we got 300 life on kill on this, fail generation and healing received. Let's see. Well, it just removes 1 affix, a random one. There you go. You can transform this into a white item. Isn't that cool? Press each of these. You have the tooltips. If you have the materials, you can try it. It's a lot to talk about if you want to talk about each and every option here, but that's the main gist of it. And the most important thing for this video is the Herald's Morningstar. I showed you how to get it. By the way, you get all those things from Hell Tides and stuff, so do a couple of Hell Tides and you'll have plenty. And then you come to the cube and you get your weapon. Because from what I saw, that's 100% chance to get it. I mean, yeah. And then come to the occultist if you, for example, apply the aspect you want, but yeah, the most important thing here is don't worry about gold. You'll have plenty of gold. Is this thing. So you need to enchant. And every time you enchant, the price goes up. So I ended up on some of these things spending 10 millions or something on one click. The gold is not the problem. You'll make a ton of gold. Don't worry about it. Gold is very easy to acquire. And in conclusion, I want to tell you that if you follow a guide, don't follow it blindly and don't get discouraged when you realize, hey, I don't have half of the aspects or the gear that guide tells me to use. Don't worry about it. Just look for synergies. Look for, as I've showed you, if you compare what I showed you with the actual guide from d4builds.gg, only the skills are the same. And of course, the Paragon boards for the most part, but the gear I have, it's just what I have. I work with what I have. So yeah, just use whatever. Don't worry about, hey, I don't have that mythic item. Don't stress over it. That's my 2 cents. Don't stress over it and just use whatever you have. The important thing is the build itself, the oath, and yeah, the Paragon points to some extent, but even there, you can do whatever. You can try different things. Look, for example, get to a website and look for each of these legendary nodes I was talking about. Just look for it yourself. I mean, you don't need the guide for that. You can decide in what order you want them, and yeah, if you want more movement speed, yeah, or if you want more damage or whatever, just go from there. The guides are just guides. If you want to follow them blindly, you'll get frustrated because you will not have what those guys use most of the time, and probably you don't have what I use. Even if my gear is, for the most part, probably you will not have some of these aspects, but that's fine. There are plenty of aspects to choose from, a lot of them. Where's the weapon? Oh, come on. Okay, never mind. Look how many aspects do you have, and this is only in the offensive. 35 guys, 35 offensive ones. So I'm pretty sure that if you don't have this one I have right here, you can find something else. This, for example, could be cool because you will crit a lot with your hammers. Your attack speed basically will be increased by 36% all the time you're fighting. Look, if you find something that deals damage to slowed enemies, you can put on another piece, this for example, and that means you boost that first item I was talking about. So look for synergies, look at guides like that's the ideal. But if you can't make that work, trust me, you can make it work in other ways. You can even make it work better. I'm confident right now nobody figured out the best build for anything for these 2 new classes. Just play with whatever. You have a lot of options. That's all I wanted to say. I'll make another update if this gets any traction. Show defensive games some love, and yeah, I'll make an update when I'll reach another milestone. For example, let's say Torment 12, or I don't even know what's the maximum. Yeah, Torment 12. If I reach Torment 12, I'll make another update with the build, the gear, what I changed, what are my impressions and all that. So the final stats as of where I stopped with the recording for this video: a lot of strength, decent armor, I guess, I'm not sure, decent resistances. They increase a bit when you're in arbiter form. It's not bad, but I wouldn't call that good. A lot of all damage and holy damage. This is my final gear setup. I only need to change the chest piece to something better, but I got ancestral pieces on everything, minus the chest piece and the weapon. I got all these rings. Oh, I forgot to slot in a gem there. I'll fix it in a second. So yeah, that's my Blessed Hammer Paladin build right now. How it started, how it evolved, what I changed from the guide I originally looked at, how I approached the skills, Paragon, gear, battle plans, the Horadric Cube, the loot filter, and how the whole thing eventually reached the point where I was trivializing Torment 8. At this point the build already feels extremely strong, and I honestly think it can go a bit higher, even as is. If I can fix my real bottleneck right now, which is survivability, I know that's a good problem to have, all things considered. So if you are building your own Hammer Paladin, I hope this gave you something useful, whether that's a direction for your Paragon points, a better gear idea, a smarter cube usage, or just proof that you don't need the exact perfect setup from a guide to make the build work. If you want, tell me where your Paladin is right now and how high you've pushed. And also let me know what video you want next. A more focused Paladin guide, Paragon board guide, or a follow-up once I push this build even higher. If you enjoyed the video and want more of this kind of stuff, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.